The price of Bitcoin is now pushing to the upside, testing prices just above 11,800. Ethereum's price is still lagging behind, sitting just below the $395 resistance, and Chainlink has now flipped the 21-day EMA into support. And today, the S&P 500 is down almost 0.5%, but Bitcoin is pushing to the upside. So we're going to be discussing all of this and more in today's video. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Some of you guys may have noticed that I didn't post a video over the past week. I actually just took a little bit of time off, stepped away from the market, and during that time the market really wasn't doing anything, but now I am getting back into it, guys, and you're going to see much more content from me moving forward. So definitely smash up that like button. Now, moving on to the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has seen a breakout today, and we just tested prices right above 11,800. We are sitting right in this previous trading range that we were in before the beginning of September, when the stock market and Bitcoin reversed to the downside. What's really interesting is that there is not much resistance above 12,000. If we get above roughly $12,086, then there is not much resistance above us, and we could actually end up ranging towards 13,200, which is that next major resistance that we found in 2019 when the market topped out. So getting above that 12K resistance could lead to a major move. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that that's what's going to happen here. This is just what would happen if we broke resistance. Whether Bitcoin breaks out to the upside and ranges towards 13K or begins testing down towards 11K to find support along this range, I think will largely have to do with what the stock market is doing. And of course, people today are probably looking at the S&P and they see that it's down 0.4%, and they're looking over at Bitcoin and they see that we're up almost 3%, and they're saying, oh my God, are we decoupling from the stock market? Well, the answer to that question is no. You cannot prove that Bitcoin is decoupling from the stock market based on one day of data. About 20% of the time, Bitcoin is moving against the S&P. 80% of the time, they are moving generally together. And it's funny, whenever this happens, whenever there's just a day that the S&P and Bitcoin are not correlated or less correlated, people always jump the gun and they say that, oh my God, we're decoupling. But that is absolutely not the case. In order to confirm a true decoupling, it takes many months, if not years, to actually get the right amount of data to say that yes, Bitcoin is not correlated to the stock market anymore. Looking at the correlation coefficient tool on the weekly chart, since Bitcoin peaked at 20K when futures were implemented on the CME, once Wall Street got their tentacles on Bitcoin, we have seen that Bitcoin has been correlated to the S&P about 80% of the time on the weekly chart. About 20% of the time, Bitcoin is less correlated. And today just so happens to be one of those days of the 20% where Bitcoin is less correlated. Now, back to my original point, whether Bitcoin breaks out above 12K or comes back to test the 11K support range is going to very largely have to do with what the S&P does. If the S&P 500 comes back to test towards the $3,400 level, which is the previous high before the pandemic, then at that point, Bitcoin would very likely be looking to come back to test towards the 11K support range. But if the S&P can maintain this bullish posture and start to push to the upside going into the election, then very likely Bitcoin would be looking to break out above 12K. So definitely keep your eye on the traditional markets and the global markets. If you're looking at the weekly chart for Bitcoin, we can see that we've closed every weekly candle since the end of April above the 21-week EMA. And as long as we're holding this blue 21-week EMA, then generally things are very bullish. No matter what Bitcoin does, as long as we're above this level, then very likely we are going to be entering a major uptrend going into the next few months. And of course, if we do get a breakdown below this level, then things are most likely going to become a little bit more bearish. Now, as of right now, as long as we're above the 21-week EMA, then I am going to be remaining bullish on Bitcoin. And from here on out, I'm just going to be using the 21-week EMA as an indicator as to whether we are in a confirmed uptrend or whether things are beginning to look more bearish. As of right now, we are in a confirmed uptrend and things are looking quite bullish. And something I want to mention is that from the last bull market high in 2013, at the end of 2013, to when we broke out above that all-time high in the bull market going into 2017, it took 1,240 days roughly to actually get a breakout above that all-time high. And if you're looking at the current cycle, Bitcoin is actually only about less than 200 days away from meeting that time requirement of the previous cycle. And in the last bull market, we remained above the 21-week EMA for pretty much the entire bull run. So moving forward here with Bitcoin, in the 21-week EMA is the moving average that I just discussed in that previous segment. So what's really interesting is that as long as we're holding above the 21-week EMA, the timing between the previous bull market high to the break of the all-time high, to this current cycle right here, the timing is almost going to be the same. So as long as we're maintaining the 21-week EMA, then things are very likely, shaping up to be pretty similar to the last cycle. If we start to range below the 21-week EMA, then things will become very different. And as long as we're above the 21-week EMA, then I am going to be remaining generally bullish on Bitcoin. And looking at Ethereum on the daily chart, we can see that Ethereum has not been able to get above resistance. We're, just below that $395 resistance. It does look like we could be setting up for it soon. If Bitcoin remains bullish, Ethereum might get some positive sentiment to push the price above that resistance level. What's really interesting about the Ethereum chart on the weekly is that we are sitting at a major pivot point between what I would consider to be bull market territory or a continued bear market. If Ethereum can range above this resistance and create support along it, and of course also remain above the 21-week EMA, then we would enter a pretty strong bull market. What a bull market means is just a sustained increase in price over time. It doesn't mean you have to break the all-time high. If Ethereum does get above this $500 resistance, that would confirm that we are in a bull market. And also, Chainlink right now is looking really interesting. What we can see is that we used the 21-day EMA as support on the way up. It was a really good support indicator. If you were buying Chainlink along the 21-day EMA during this run-up, then you had some really good entries, or at least you could have played some of these bounces. Now, the 21-day EMA on the way down was acting as the resistance indicator. If you were selling along the 21-day EMA or shorting along that level, then you made some pretty good trades. What's pretty clear is that the market is looking at this moving average. This just flipped from being a resistance indicator to actually becoming where we're finding our support right now. So this is a really bullish sign for Chainlink. As long as things remain generally bullish for Bitcoin and generally bullish for the global markets, then Chainlink may actually be able to range up to that next major target, which is coming in around $12.85. This is a pretty key area, a major support, and also a major resistance level. And at this point, it does seem like the upside is becoming more likely. Now, if we can't get above this, if we start to fall back below the 21-day EMA, then you'd be looking for about $9.22, which is another key area, pretty key support here. That would be a really optimal entry for Chainlink. But as of right now, it does look like the bullish argument is gaining some momentum. And I'm pretty excited for Chainlink because if Bitcoin does remain bullish, then this could be a really nice setup for another major run-up in the Chainlink market. And also, we do see that there is a little bit of rising numbers for COVID-19 once again, so there is still some uncertainty overall. But as of right now, Bitcoin is setting up in a really bullish posture. Ethereum looks like it wants to get above resistance. Chainlink has a nice bullish setup. And the only thing that's really a concern for me right now is the stock market. So we'll have to keep our eye on the S&P 500 to see how things really play out for the global narrative. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to sign up with the Cryptowatch platform. It is my preferred platform for charting and trading. It's totally free. Click that link below. And also, on some of the days that I'm not posting on YouTube, I do post in my Patreon. And you can track one of my secondary portfolios in Patreon, which is pretty cool. So if you're interested in that, definitely join Patreon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.